I think we're going to rally pretty strongly in August.
Most people don't realize what's really happening with Ethereum.
But today we announced that we reached almost $3 billion worth of ETH.
You see, looking at the Bitcoin price, I understand why the price of Bitcoin is going up. Not that there won't be dips. There's always dips.
You know, August is historically the worst month of the year for crypto. So a pullback in August is not uncommon.
But dips are always bought up, and it makes sense why Bitcoin has to go higher.
I think if there is a pullback, investors will be well placed to take advantage of it because the broader themes driving crypto, as you mentioned, institutional adoption, that's not slowing down. In the meetings I'm having with institutions, they are moving forward with adding crypto to their portfolio. So I would take any sign of weakness as an opportunity. If we get the historic August pullback, that sets up for a very strong September, October, and November historically in crypto.
I think Bitcoiner Natalie Brunell explained this so perfectly on Fox Business, looking at global M2 money supply versus Bitcoin.
Okay, we've got the chart. It's pretty easy. You don't have to be a chartist to see, okay, they kind of trade in tandem here.
Well, one thing we know is that they're going to continue to debase, and liquidity has been at all-time highs, and that's largely because we're running these massive fiscal deficits. And guess what? They're going to continue. The projections made for the rest of the year is that we're going to be basically issuing about $18 trillion worth, or $18 billion worth of debt per day for the rest of the year, for the rest of 2025.
They are printing an infinite amount of money, and Bitcoin has a finite supply.
So the thing you need is the one thing immune to currency debasement, immune to inflation, and that is Bitcoin.
In fact, looking at the data, global M2 money supply continues to hit new highs. Will Bitcoin follow? And even though Bitcoin historically may have or often has red months in August, August is here, and in the year after a Bitcoin halving, Ethereum usually does really well in August. On average, it goes up over 64%. If the same things happen again, ETH might reach 5K next month. And I would push back on this. This is why you subscribe to Altcoin Daily, for perspective, because I don't think the same thing is happening. If the same thing happens again, ETH might hit 5K next month. To me, this year for Ethereum is not the same. This year is more bullish. This year is better for Ethereum. I will prove it. There's a literally insane ETH buying happening today.
But today we announced that we reached almost $3 billion worth of ETH. And
the largest ETH holder, then.
Yeah, the largest ETH treasury in the world and the third largest crypto treasury in the world.
Publicly traded companies are actively trying to accumulate at the lowest cost basis as they can before it's too late. For example, Tom Lee's Bitmine now has over $3 billion of ETH. They're trying to accumulate 5% of the supply. SharpLink at $1.62 billion. The Ethereum Foundation, right now in fourth, at $863 million, all the way down to the United States government now in 12th. So there's not less buying of Ethereum than other years. There's actually much more. And if you hold Ethereum, you need to see this. ETH below $4,000 is a steal. Let me prove it. With institutional accumulation, an ETH supply crunch, the network activity going up and to the right, you name it, Ethereum's fundamentals are doing really well. It has not surpassed all-time highs yet. In fact, it's still under $4,000. And we see what happened to the S&P 500, to gold, to Bitcoin after it broke out. Up against resistance, rejection, up against resistance, rejection, up against resistance, breakout, breakout. Ethereum has yet to break out. And that brings us to the Ethereum chart, looking at the resistance, looking at the support, on exchange partner Wex. By the way, anybody trading with referral code Altcoin, link down below. Trade to earn spins. There's over 3 Ethereum for you up for grabs. This is a special promotion only for the Altcoin Daily audience. Ends in a few days. So link down below with referral code Altcoin. Earn some ETH. Or at least trade with the Ethereum chart. So here we are. Here's the resistance. As you can see, Ethereum has been rejected 1, 2, 3, 4 separate times from, I'd say, $38,000, meaning buyers have not stepped up yet above that price. Some people are willing to take profit at that price, but buyers sure as hell step up when it gets as low as, damn, I wish it would get this low again, but $22,000. Point is, for you, if you're trading Ethereum, I'm not sure when this breakout will happen. I believe it will happen sooner rather than later, But look what happened last time Ethereum finally broke out from this trading channel to the upside and broke over $2,000. Actually, we can go over to some of these charting tools. Again, I'll put a link down below for those of you who want to follow along. But let's just go over to bar patterns. Last time the breakout happened, Ethereum had an incredible rally. We bring that over here. Whoops. And if history for Ethereum were to rhyme, that would take the price of one Ethereum to $5,600 per ETH, actually by November. By the way, it's not just Ethereum. If you hold Cardano, this affects you. But I do just want to react to this clip. This is chartist Benjamin Cowan on Bankless. This is about a 2-minute, 50-second clip, and they're directly talking about Ethereum treasury companies like Tom Lee, like all these companies buying. Ethereum treasury companies may push ETH to new highs, but then what? Benjamin Cowan warns that the current Ethereum treasury hype may be pulling forward demand. Let's react to this clip. It's over 2 minutes. Then I want to share with you my thoughts.
I'm also, again, with caution, very aware that a lot of these ETH treasury companies are pulling forward demand. And so while they are opening up capital, opening up access to new capital, TradFi capital, using some of the genius that Michael Saylor has put together, that's all great. That's like net new buyers, truly new value to some degree. And it's also pulling forward demand. And so this narrative is being formed right now alongside ETH momentum that these ETH treasury companies are going to propel Ether to new high, which is probably totally what's going to happen. And then after the all-time highs, I could totally see that same narrative flipping and being like, okay, we pulled forward demand. You know, we broke into all-time highs. ETH is 5K, ETH is 6K, ETH is 7K. And now that we've pulled forward demand, we've actually like run out of buyers. And that's it. That's the end of the road. And then all of a sudden that narrative flips from being a bullish narrative to a bearish narrative. And then all of a sudden we're into the 2026 bear market.
Right.
How do you like, did that? I can see that same narrative being bullish now and then also bearish later, and it manifesting into that bear market that you kind of said. Is that kind of how you mean?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it'd be kind of like if Bitcoin, like all the ETF flows, like maybe they start going down in 2026. So like once was a bullish catalyst, maybe it turns into a bearish one, right? I just think what normally happens in these cycles is that Bitcoin goes up first and it leads the way. And then after Ethereum goes home, it then leads the way. And if the macro holds up long enough, then the altcoins will finally get their turn at the very, very end of the cycle, right? At the very end of the cycle. So yeah, like that narrative could absolutely play out. But I think the reason why this is going to happen is because, first of all, you had the Bitcoin treasury companies come in and it looked risky, but it's worked out, right? At least it's worked out so far, right? So what happens when someone takes a risk and it works out? What happens? You get copycats. So,
Yeah,
right?
you get rewarded, yeah.
Right. So then now you have people doing it for Ethereum. And look, I honestly think it's fine because I think Ethereum's going to be around for a while. I think it's a blue chip. I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are the two things to really bet on in crypto more than anything else. And so then you have the copycats. But I think what's going to happen with the narrative, I think that the demand, maybe there is demand, but it just gets directed to the wrong place, right? So like people are going to start, instead of looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're going to get distracted by all these shiny new altcoins. And I'm concerned that you're going to get a lot of greedy people that are going to launch these, treasury companies for these altcoins, and it's going to be an absolute disaster.
So my two takeaways, and let's start with what David and Benjamin said first. By the way, like the content. But number one, all these institutions aggressively buying Ethereum are, until proven otherwise, a leading indicator. Meaning after they already buy, it's not like price will go up. No, price is going up because they're actively in a race to buy now. So just be prepared. Maybe they'll start selling a year from now, 2 years from now, and the narrative goes in both directions. There's a bull and a bear, an ebb and a flow to life, to crypto. And number two, takeaway from me, is we are in a bull market now. I believe bull markets can last years and years, or months and months, longer than you think they will, but it can also turn on a dime, and we won't really know when the bull market ends. People will be screaming, we're going so much higher, maybe like today. Do not overextend yourself. Hey, it is cool that they're making a Bored Ape movie. For those of you who watched my interview, and I'll link this down below, you know that you can win a Bored Ape.
We mentioned we're giving away a Bored Ape, right? Which is huge for one lucky person who buys a copy of this, and to get on the whitelist.
Now the movie is live, no reason to get on the whitelist now.
We're going to launch a collectible version of the trailer. And so we're going to make that available at stuff.io/altcoin.
But if you want to buy a copy of the movie and enter to win a Bored Ape, just follow the link down below. And in Cardano news, the Cardano community approves a $71 million treasury spend for network upgrades. Another way to say that would be Cardano's core development team received approval to be paid 96 million ADA from the treasury to forge ahead with proposed upgrades to the network. What is being updated? Well, the 12-month development plan focuses on improving scalability, the developer experience, and interoperability, all the core plumbing of a healthy blockchain. Still, it draws some concerns from the community over costs, overall accountability, and transparency. I guess maybe because they voted to give money to themselves. It was more than the core developers, but do you think this was a good use of $71 million? Or do you think Cardano should have used this on a Super Bowl ad? Be sure to click subscribe to Altcoin Daily for an edge investing in crypto with one video per day. And like always, see you tomorrow.